Have you ever had this quiet, uncomfortable thought? Maybe something's just wrong with me, and it started a long time ago. Maybe you can't point to some big dramatic childhood event. Maybe it was just emotional silence. No one asking how you really felt. No one sitting on the edge of your bed at night, saying, I see you, you matter. Just homework, chores, expectations, and that constant hum of be good, don't cause trouble. If that's even remotely familiar, your mind didn't forget it. It built an entire survival system around it, and that system, that architecture inside you, is still quietly running the show today. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're born with an emotional dashboard like in a car. There are all these dials. Am I safe? Am I lovable? Can I trust people? Is it okay to need help? Now, in a perfect world, a loving caregiver walks over to that dashboard and gently tunes those dials for you. When you cry, someone comes, dial moves toward I'm safe. When you reach out, someone smiles. Dial moves toward I'm lovable. When you mess up, someone explains instead of explodes. Dial moves toward it's okay to be human. But if you grew up not feeling loved or not feeling loved consistently, no one calibrated that dashboard. So your brain did something very clever and very tragic at the same time. It assumed the worst and called it normal. Maybe your brain decided people don't really show up, don't depend on them. So it turned up the self-sufficiency dial to max and turned it down ask for help until it was basically muted. On the outside, that looks like, wow, you're so independent. On the inside, it's I literally don't know how to lean on anyone without feeling sick with anxiety. Or maybe your brain picked another strategy. If I'm perfect, they won't leave. So you became hyper-tuned to everyone's moods, scanning for danger like a human smoke detector. You learned to read micro-expressions, tones of voice, the way a door closed. And people say, you're so intuitive. You're thinking, no, I'm just an expert at not getting hurt. Here's where a big assumption gets challenged. We're told that childhood is in the past. It's over, move on. But your nervous system didn't get that memo. It doesn't know calendar years, it only knows patterns. It only knows what got you hurt and what kept you safe. There's a reason it feels like you're overreacting in some situations. You're not reacting to the present. You're reacting to an old pattern that was burned into you when you were too small to say, hey, this is messing me up. Think about texting someone you care about, and they take a little too long to reply. One part of you goes, they're probably busy. Another part of you spirals, they're bored of me. I said too much. I'm too much. Everyone else sees a slow text. You feel a lifetime of emotional distance press on your chest. That's not you being dramatic. That's your younger self tugging on your sleeve saying, remember what happened when people pulled away. We got hurt. We felt invisible. We're not doing that again. Psychology actually has names for this stuff. Attachment theory, for example, talks about how the way we are cared for as kids becomes our template for relationships. If you didn't feel emotionally loved, you might swing anxious afraid people will leave or avoidant afraid people will come too close and see the real you. Sometimes you get a fun combo platter of both. It's like your heart can't decide whether to build a fort or a magnet. And then there's self-worth. That's a big one. A child who doesn't feel loved doesn't think, my parents are emotionally limited. They think, it must be me. I must be unlovable. Kids are narcissists in the most innocent way. They believe everything is about them, including other people's inability to love. So that belief, I'm not really lovable, sits like a quiet script in your mind. Maybe it doesn't show up loudly. It shows up as you constantly over-apologizing, or never applying for the job you want because they'll probably pick someone better. Or staying in relationships where you're doing all the emotional gymnastics just to earn crumbs of affection. If you've ever felt like a background character in your own life, this might be why. But here's the twist I really want you to hear. Your mind didn't do this because it's broken. It did this because it was trying to protect you. Not being loved in the way you needed is like growing up in emotional winter. So your psyche grew thick skin, built fires, learned to survive on little. That emotional hyper-independence, it kept you from being disappointed again and again. That perfectionism, it might have kept you out of trouble. That people-pleasing, it made you useful, which sometimes was the closest thing to love you could get. You weren't weak, You are adapting. Of course, the tricky part is that those winter survival skills don't work so well in spring. As an adult, you're allowed to need warmth. You're allowed to ask for more. But those old settings are still locked in. So when someone actually treats you kindly, your first thought might be, what do they want? When someone gives you genuine love, your body might feel more panic than peace. It's like your system is saying, we don't trust this new climate. Get your coat. Let's sneak in a bit more science without making it sound like a textbook. When you grow up emotionally neglected or unloved, your nervous system tends to stay in a low-level state of threat. Not full-blown panic, just constant readiness. You're braced. That can show up as anxiety, chronic tension, trouble sleeping, or this feeling that you always have to be on. You might not even realize other people feel more relaxed because you've never had that version of normal. There's also this strange symptom a lot of people don't talk about. Numbness. Instead of feeling too much, you feel too little. Joy doesn't land. Achievements feel pointless 5 minutes after you reach them. Someone says, I'm proud of you, and you're like, cool, but inside it bounces off. That's not because you're ungrateful. It's because your emotional system got used to running on low power mode. Big feelings weren't safe, so it dimmed everything. If this is sounding a bit depressing, stay with me, because here's where things turn. The lifelong effect of not being loved as a child is real. It shapes how you relate, how you trust, how you talk to yourself in the mirror. But it's not a life sentence, it's a life pattern. And patterns, unlike history, can be rewritten. Remember those survival skills you built? Let's reframe them for a second. Your hyper-awareness of other people's moods. That's sensitivity. That's empathy turned up high, with boundaries and practice. That same skill can make you an incredible friend, partner, therapist, artist, leader. Your tendency to overthink. That's a brain that learned to run simulations to keep you safe. Once you're not using it to predict abandonment 24/7, you can use that exact power to plan, create, imagine new possibilities for yourself. Your reluctance to trust. That's discernment. Sure, it might currently be said to reject everyone, including the pizza guy, but with time you can fine-tune it into choosing better people, not just more people. And your deep longing to be loved, the one you sometimes feel embarrassed about. That's not weakness. That's the most human part of you refusing to die. It's the part that still believes something better is possible, or you wouldn't be watching this. And you wouldn't still be curious about why you are the way you are. So what does healing actually look like, beyond all the nice words? Sometimes it looks really small and kind of awkward. It's you sitting on the edge of your own bed at night, doing what no one did for you, and saying to yourself, hey, I see how hard you tried today. I know you're scared. I'm not leaving. It sounds cheesy, until you realize your brain has been waiting your entire life to hear that from anyone. It's you, slowly letting one safe person in a little deeper. Not everyone, not all at once. Just one. Testing the waters, letting yourself be slightly less fine, and seeing that the world doesn't end. It's you noticing the moment your mind goes, they didn't text back. It's because I'm worthless, and gently, very gently saying, no, that's old programming. I'm not doing that to myself tonight. Not because some Instagram quote told you to love yourself, but because you're tired of living like every minor delay is proof you don't deserve love. And sometimes it's you getting help. A therapist, a support group, books. Anything that reminds you you're not uniquely broken. You're human, with very understandable scars. The truth is, you may always carry echoes of that early loneliness. Certain situations might always sting more for you than for someone who grew up wrapped in uncomplicated love. But over time you can become the adult that child needed. You can give yourself consistency, kindness, protection, and yes, actual love. You don't erase the past, you outgrow its control. So if a part of you believes you are permanently damaged because you weren't loved the way you needed as a child, let me offer you this. Maybe you're not damaged. Maybe you're like a tree that grew sideways to reach the light. Twisted. Sure, unusual definitely, but also resilient, interesting, and still very much alive. And now, you get to decide where you grow next. As you click off this video later and go back to your life, notice how you talk to yourself. Notice the rules you live by that maybe, just maybe, were written by a scared 80-year-old trying to survive. Then ask yourself, do I still need this rule, or is it safe to try something kinder now? If this spoke to you, stay with this conversation. Reflect on it. Share it with that one friend who always jokes about being emotionally numb, but you know there's more there. And if you want to keep exploring how your mind works and how to gently rewire it, you're welcome to stick around, subscribe, and be part of this little corner of the internet where your story actually matters. You didn't choose what love you didn't get back then, but you do get a say in the love you give yourself now. And that choice, repeated in small, quiet ways, can change an entire lifetime.